You ever just look around at the world and wonder, why are we still fighting? I mean, from dumb arguments with family to full-blown wars, it feels like this pattern just never ever ends. But what if the secret to understanding all of it is hidden in one of the oldest stories we have?
Seriously, it's the big question, isn't it? With all our technology, all our progress, we're still stuck in the same old cycles of us versus them. So what is really going on here? What's the root cause of it all?
Well, the answer might just be in the story of Cain and Abel. And look, this is way more than just some ancient tale about two brothers. It's like a psychological blueprint, a pattern that keeps playing out in our homes, in our countries, and yeah, even inside our own heads.
And this is where it all clicks into place. This insight from Reverend Sun Myung Moon totally reframes the whole thing. He wasn't looking at this as ancient history. He saw it as a living, breathing dynamic. That feeling of being forgotten, like Cain, and the weight of being the favorite, like Abel. That's not just their story. He's saying it's the story of all of us.
So that gives us our key idea for today, the Cain-Abel pattern. It's that raw gut feeling that love or attention or success has been handed out unfairly. You've got one person who feels chosen, that's the Abel, and another who feels totally invisible, the Cain. And that feeling of imbalance, that right there is the tiny seed that grows into massive conflict.
So if we want to understand this huge global pattern, we've got to start where it all begins, right inside the family. This is the first place we experience these wounds, of feeling overlooked or feeling like the favorite. It's ground zero. But what actually creates that deep wound, that feeling of being the Cain in the family? To get our heads around that, let's pull in some wisdom from some really brilliant minds. Psychiatrist Alfred Adler pointed to something you might not even think about: birth order. Think about it. The first kid comes into the world and everything revolves around them. But the second kid, they walk onto a stage that's already got a star. Adler said that right from day one, this can spark a feeling of competition, a sense of always trying to catch up.
And of course, it goes way deeper than just who was born first. You see how all these ideas connect? Carl Jung suggested a child can sometimes carry the unspoken fears of a parent. That can curdle into what Brené Brown calls that silent, secret shame of feeling like I am not enough. And when that feeling isn't healed, Harville Hendricks says it turns into this emotional hunger that eventually sours into real anger and resentment. Okay, and here is where this gets really big. This deeply personal wound, this family stuff, it doesn't just stay there. It scales up. It infects whole communities, entire nations, and it creates a world where resentment becomes this incredibly powerful political weapon.
And the escalation is tragically predictable. It's a four-step ladder. It starts with that personal hurt. Then that hurt gets shared and becomes a collective grievance. A whole group feels wronged. That's when leaders can step in and weaponize that pain, pointing to an enemy to blame. And boom, the final stage. That resentment gets baked right into the system as racism or oppression or even war.
Nelson Mandela knew a thing or two about prisons, and he understood this perfectly. He realized that holding on to bitterness, which is really just the political version of Cain's resentment, is its own kind of prison. It traps a nation's soul long after the physical chains are gone. So why would a whole society choose this path? Well, let's be honest, because hatred offers easy answers. Václav Havel pointed out that it's just easier than looking in the mirror. Martin Luther King Jr. saw that it promises a shortcut to power without the hard, messy work of love. And Hannah Arendt noticed that for lonely people, hating a common enemy provides a twisted sense of belonging.
Okay, so that's the diagnosis, and it is heavy stuff. But what's the cure? Well, the good news is it's not hopeless. The sources we're looking at actually point to a pretty clear two-part formula to get us out of this mess.
And it really boils down to this. Peace is a two-way street. It takes work from both sides. The Abel figure, the one who's in the favored spot, has a huge responsibility to love first, to lead with some humility. And in return, the wounded Cain figure desperately needs to have their dignity restored, to be seen, to be heard. Gandhi's insight here just flips the whole script. Being Abel isn't about privilege. It's a profound, heavy responsibility. It's not about being perfect. It's about having the guts to take the hit, to absorb the anger, and to transform it with love. It means you have to be the one to take that first step. And for the Cain heart to heal, a simple sorry just won't cut it. It means finding meaning in the pain, like Viktor Frankl talked about. It's about being seen with what Carl Rogers called unconditional positive regard. And at the end of the day, as both Baldwin and Rumi knew, it's about restoring a person's basic fundamental human dignity and worth.
So, this brings us to the biggest question of all. Can we do it? As one big, messy human family, can we finally break free from this ancient, destructive cycle? I mean, what would a healed world even look like?
It's amazing. You see thinkers from all these different backgrounds, all pointing in a similar direction. C.S. Lewis said we need humility, Rabbi Heschel called for empathy, Buckminster Fuller argued for building systems based on cooperation, not competition. Every single one is a critical piece of the puzzle. But Reverend Sun Myung Moon's vision kind of pulls it all together, saying the real fix requires a deep spiritual shift, a realization that we are literally one family.
And this is really the heart of Reverend Moon's final thoughts on this. He's saying that real, lasting peace, it's not going to come from a treaty or from winning a debate. It's a spiritual awakening. It's that aha moment when humanity finally gets it, that we are all connected, we are one family under God. That is what finally heals the wound between Cain and Abel.
So I'll leave you with this. Let's bring this huge global question right back home. In your own life, in your own relationships, where do you feel that sting of Cain's resentment? And maybe even more important, where in your life are you being called to be able to take on that responsibility to love first, to be the one who closes the gap and takes that first brave step toward making peace?